I get lots of messages and inquiries every day from readers of my book from around the world. Thank you to everyone who has messaged me, thanked me, or had questions about business transformation in general, how to get started, where to start, and how to restart their stalled transformation, or specifically about my book, the Business Transformation Playbook, or framework, Hoba, the House of Business Architecture. One reader said that they're exploring a career in business architecture, having worked in portfolio and as a delivery and project manager. They bought my book when they find it very easy to comprehend. However, they need more training. Do I offer these? Thank you. The answer is yes, I do, but more on that later. The question of the week comes from one reader who says they're getting into the book and enjoying it very much. I immediately noticed there is no or little mention of the Business Architecture Guild nor value streams. I may get into this, but wondering if this was deliberate. I'm not advocating any one approach, but I'd like to keep open mind, just interested in your opinion. Firstly, thanks for your feedback. That's great to hear. Cheers. There is no mention of the Guild, which was intentional because there is none. As a practice or best practice, as the Guild claimed they were supposed to represent, I think it was always going to be a hard task crowdsourcing not just the authoring of a book from 100 plus authors, but to come up with a comprehensive and coherent framework. When I was involved in the pilot, more on that another time, to my disappointment, it was a difficult read. I had high hopes that the industry had finally found a voice to combat the technology-dominated sector with a truly business-led approach. Now at 750 pages, what looks like they are trying to appease many people in writing included everything they could think of, including technology, and what was probably an attempt to provide a comprehensive framework have instead of simplifying the complexity only added to it, sadly. When the Home Office brought me in to develop their business architecture framework for them, although I struggled with it, I actually recommended they adopt the Business-𝘭𝘥 as their approach. I warned the Home Office at the time, however, I said, look, it's in development, it's supposed to be best practice, but it's not right now, it might be in the future, but there's a lot of work to do. The biggest issue I have with it is, as a business architect, they lost me when you start talking about messaging systems and engines. When you start talking about these things, you are no longer talking about business architecture, you are talking about technology. I actually had no intention of writing my book and making Hoba public, but the reason why I decided to write my book and make Hoba public for the first time after 15 years in use as an actual business architect, called in to set up and rescue some fairly large and small transformations developed with the business, for the business, and to be used and owned by the business, was to do what I thought the Guild was going to do, and that was to simplify the complexity and align to industry best practice. In terms of value streams, I don't know if I would call them best practice though. What that is a small group of authors that thought it was a good idea, like messaging engines. I personally never have, well, not yet anyway, in 15 years had to do a cost-value analysis or prioritization. Value is not a concept the business know and use. I have had to and still do cost-benefit analysis. As a best practice, portfolios, projects, programs, and PMO don't measure, track, or report value. They do, however, know, use, measure, and track benefits and benefits realization, which I have been using for years. With benefits, there is a well-known and respected process and framework for identifying, quantifying, measuring, and tracking benefits realization, which is the second pillar of Hoba, the benefits model, after the first pillar, the current operating model, for good reason. It's only when identified and quantified benefits and in-scope changes that, when implemented and used by the business, allow the business to realize the intended benefits. Should the cost of implementing those changes outweigh the cost of developing the target operating model, the third pillar. Before implementing the in-scope changes in the fourth pillar, the roadmap model, should any program or project go ahead. The reason why the benefits model sits smack in the middle of Hoba is to address the problem of mostly technology building and implementing complex and complicated systems into the business and then using benefits to justify why they built it. It is actually when identified, quantified, and prioritized benefits and changes that, when used by the business, allow the business to realize those benefits should any project or program go ahead. That said, I think the true test of a framework is in the framework itself. If you give it to the business and the business know it, use it, and own it, and do so when you are not there, then you truly have a business-led and business-driven framework. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think anyone could give the Business-𝘭𝘥 to the business and tell them to understand it, let alone use it. I get a lot of emails daily, either directly on chatbot, Facebook, on here on LinkedIn, and even Amazon reviews from business architects, as well as people who aren't business architects, colleagues and even people new to the industry and role who love the book and Hoba because they feel it's easy to understand and easy to use, which was my goal, to give business back its voice and make proper business-led business transformation. If you're interested in the full backstory of why I wrote Hoba, you can watch the short video on the website at www.hoba.tech/start-here. As I mentioned to this reader, I said I am hopeful, however, that the Guild will bring it back to the fundamentals that they originally set out to do, and maybe there could be an opportunity for some collaboration in the future. Who knows? If you have a question about business transformation, my book, The Business Transformation Playbook, or Hoba, House of Business Architecture, Business Transformation Framework, describe your situation or problem you want to solve in the comments below, and I will choose the most interesting for my professional followers, and I'll make a video to solve your problem using the Hoba tools. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.